Oh dear soul, have you ever wondered what truly lies beyond this veil of fleeting pleasures and passing sorrows? Within each of us sleeps a sacred power, the Kundalini Shakti, coiled like a divine serpent at the base of the spine, silently awaiting the moment when the soul dares to remember its immortal nature. Many seekers speak of its awakening as if it were the grand finale of the spiritual journey, the final triumph of the yogi's discipline. But I tell you, beloved one, the moment Kundalini rises is not the end, it is the true beginning of life itself. When this sacred energy awakens, it is as if the curtains of illusion are parted for the first time, revealing the boundless, unchanging reality that lies beyond name, form, and circumstance. But what then? What happens after this tremendous force ascends through the chakras, unlocking realms of bliss and wisdom? What becomes of the seeker who tastes the nectar of the infinite within? This, dear one, is a mystery known to few, a secret whispered only in the silent hearts of sages. Today, together, we shall lift that veil and glimpse the truth of what life becomes after Kundalini awakening. Namaste, beloved soul. I welcome you here not as a stranger, but as a fellow traveler on this eternal path of self-discovery. In this world of endless distractions, countless are those who chase after shadows, wealth, fleeting pleasures, temporary triumphs, yet rare is the one who pauses to ask, who am I, truly? Why am I here? What lies beyond this brief play of life and death? Among the deepest mysteries of existence is the sacred phenomenon known as Kundalini awakening. It is spoken of in ancient scriptures, revered by saints, feared by the ignorant, and misunderstood by many. Some call it the key to supernatural powers, others a mystical danger. Yet to the true seeker, it is the divine invitation to realize one's highest self. But what happens once this powerful inner force awakens? Does life instantly fill with unending bliss? Does one abandon the world and retreat to the forests? Or does a subtler, far greater transformation begin, one that reshapes not only your inner being but your entire relationship with life itself? Today, let us walk hand in hand into this sacred mystery, guided by the timeless wisdom of the great masters and the eternal voice of the soul within. When the topic of Kundalini awakening is spoken of, it often stirs the imagination in colorful, and sometimes misleading ways. Many seekers, upon hearing this term, instantly associate it with visions of supernatural power, dramatic physical sensations, or rare yogic miracles. They believe that when Kundalini awakens, the body might tremble violently, eyes might roll upward, and visions of radiant light or celestial beings might appear before them. Some imagine the sudden rise of this energy as an overwhelming flood of bliss so intense that it sweeps away all sorrow and struggle in an instant, leaving only a permanent state of ecstasy. In the modern age, especially, it has become common for people to seek this awakening as though it were a prized possession, a spiritual trophy to boast of, or a shortcut to enlightenment. Books and teachers speak of it as a gateway to acquiring mystical abilities, the power to heal, to read thoughts, or to influence destinies. And while certain signs and experiences may accompany Kundalini's stirrings, they are but passing phenomena, like waves on the surface of a vast, still ocean. Many fall into the illusion that Kundalini's awakening marks the final destination, believing that once it rises, no further effort is needed, no more inner work remains. They chase the outward signs and forget the deeper purpose. What is often missed is that these external or dramatic experiences are not the awakening itself. but fleeting expressions of energy adjusting within the subtle body. The true significance of Kundalini's rise lies not in these surface happenings, but in the subtle, sacred transformation of consciousness that quietly begins, a journey that few recognize, and even fewer are prepared to humbly embrace. It is this inner dimension we must now gently uncover. Beneath the surface-level understanding lies a far more profound, sacred truth, one preserved in the hearts of the ancient rishis and carried forward by masters like Lahiri Mahasaya, Sri Yukswar, and Paramhansa Yogananda. In their eyes, Kundalini is not merely a mystical energy to be awakened for spectacle or power. It is the sacred river of divine consciousness, the pathway through which the soul, long imprisoned in delusion, ascends back to its source in the infinite spirit. When Kundalini stirs and begins her upward journey through the chakras, it is not simply a physical or energetic occurrence. Each chakra she rises through represents a doorway of consciousness, a realm of subtle attachments, fears, and limitations that bind the soul to the material plane. As this sacred energy ascends, it dissolves these knots of Maya, the illusions of ego, desire, and separation. And with each layer shed, the seeker awakens to deeper glimpses of their true nature, eternal, unbounded, untouched by birth or death. Paramhansa Yogananda often reminded his disciples that Kundalini is the mechanism through which human consciousness expands into divine consciousness. It is the bridge between the mortal and the immortal, the transient and the eternal. But even after this awakening occurs, the journey is not finished. In fact, it marks the true beginning of a life lived in higher awareness, where every thought, action, and breath is offered at the feet of the infinite. The drama of outer life may continue, but within, a new, unshakable peace takes root. One begins to perceive the world as a cosmic play, and all beings as sparks of the same divine flame. This, dear one, is the sacred purpose of Kundalini awakening, not power, but inner freedom and divine union. Let me share with you, dear seeker, a sacred moment from the early life of the one known as Paramhansa Yogananda, born as young Mukunda Lal Ghosh in the spiritual land of India. Even as a boy, his heart burned with a deep, unquenchable yearning for God. From a tender age, he would often slip away from the world of schoolbooks and games to sit in silent meditation beneath trees or within the quiet sanctuary of his home. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the world hushed into stillness, Mukunda sat alone in his room, absorbed in deep meditation. The breath slowed, the senses withdrew, and an indescribable current of energy, like a gentle yet mighty river, began to rise within him. It coursed upward from the base of his spine, illuminating the inner pathways of his being, and he felt himself dissolve into a radiant ocean of light. Time lost its meaning. The small self vanished, and in its place remained only an eternal, boundless joy, a peace untouched by the outer world. In that moment, he heard a voice within, not of this earth, whisper softly, "You are not this body, nor this fleeting world. You are a mortal spirit." When he later spoke to his beloved guru, Sri Yukswar, about this experience, the wise master smiled and said, "My child, this is the opening of the sacred door. Now begins the true work, to live in this awareness amidst the duties of the world." Even after such a profound awakening, Yogananda's life was not one of escape, but of embracing the world with compassion, teaching others, and fulfilling his destiny as a guide for countless souls. And so it is with all true awakenings, a call not to leave life behind, but to live it from the still center of the divine. When Kundalini rises and one truly tastes the nectar of the infinite within, a quiet yet profound transformation begins to shape every aspect of the seeker's inner world. It is not always marked by dramatic outward changes, but by subtle shifts in perception that gently dissolve long-held fears, attachments, and illusions. The most immediate and beautiful transformation is the gradual disappearance of the ancient fear of death. The seeker begins to perceive that this body is but a garment, and life itself is an endless, unbroken stream of consciousness. Death loses its power to terrify, for one realizes it to be a simple doorway, a passing from one chamber of existence to another, while the eternal self remains untouched, undiminished. Alongside this, the attachments that once clung like heavy chains to the heart begin to loosen. The seeker no longer seeks fulfillment in possessions, achievements, or the praise of others. Joy is no longer sought in outer things, but is quietly discovered to be the natural fragrance of one's own being. This inner contentment is steady, like the silent flame of a lamp in a windless room. Misconceptions about enlightenment, as a state of constant ecstasy or grand visions, fall away. One realizes that true awakening is a serene, steady awareness, unshaken by pleasure or pain, gain or loss. It is the gentle, abiding sense of unity with all life. The personal journey becomes one of deeper surrender, of seeing the hand of the divine in every moment, whether wrapped in sweetness or challenge. Life is lived with increasing grace, simplicity, and joy. The seeker walks through the world, no longer clinging to it, but cherishing its beauty as a fleeting play of the divine, and offering each moment back to the infinite in silent gratitude. Dear one, when Kundalini awakens and higher awareness dawns, it not only transforms your inner world, it changes how you relate to others, how you walk amidst the joys and sorrows of this earthly existence. The heart, once restless and possessive, becomes vast, tender, and all-embracing. You begin to see every being not as a separate entity, but as a reflection of the same infinite light you have glimpsed within yourself. Love, which was once entangled with need and expectation, blossoms into pure compassion. You no longer love to possess, you love to uplift, to bless, to silently pray for the well-being of all. Even those who wrong you, who once stirred anger or pain, are now seen with understanding, as fellow souls, caught like you once were, in the dream of forgetfulness. Relationships become sacred opportunities for service, for kindness, for sharing the silent joy of divine remembrance. Attachment loses its sharp claws, for you know that no soul belongs to you, each belongs to the infinite. Death, separation, loss, these no longer break you, for the unbroken thread of spirit unites all beyond the veil of time. In worldly duties, you act with greater clarity and detachment. Success no longer intoxicates, nor failure disheartens. You work not for personal gain but as a humble offering at the feet of the divine. Every moment, whether spent in the marketplace or in silent meditation, becomes an act of worship. And amidst it all, you remain inwardly free, like a lotus, untouched by the water in which it floats. This is the blessing of true awakening, to live fully in the world, yet belong to no one but God alone. Such is the grace that silently descends upon the awakened soul. Beloved soul, the great masters have always taught that wisdom is not meant to be merely heard or admired, it must be lived, experienced within the sacred temple of your own heart. To truly understand what life becomes after Kundalini Awakening, you need not wait for dramatic signs or visions. You can begin tasting that peace, that subtle divine current, here and now. I shall share with you a simple, sacred practice, one I have lovingly offered to many disciples, and which you too may embrace in your daily life. Set aside a few quiet moments each day, when the world is hushed, and you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes gently. Sit upright, with the spine straight, as though inviting the divine river within to flow freely. Now, bring your awareness to the point between the eyebrows, the spiritual eye, the seat of divine perception. Visualize a gentle light there, like a soft candle flame or a radiant star. As you inhale, mentally chant Aum, feeling the breath rise upward from the base of the spine to this point. As you exhale, mentally chant peace, letting all tension melt away. In these moments, do not force anything. Simply observe. Feel the subtle sensations along the spine. Experience the stillness growing like a calm, sacred dawn within you. Even if the Kundalini remains dormant, the awareness you awaken by this simple practice will begin dissolving your fears, attachments, and restlessness. Remember, beloved, it is not the outward experience but the inward stillness, the growing love for the divine within you, that is the true awakening. Practice this daily, and one day, when your heart is ready, the sacred river will rise, and you will know yourself as eternal spirit. And so, dear one, we arrive at the gentle close of this sacred reflection. Know that the journey of Kundalini Awakening is not a prize to be hurried toward, nor a spectacle to be chased, but a quiet blossoming of the soul, a sacred homecoming to the infinite within you. Whether this awakening comes today, tomorrow, or lifetimes from now, it matters not. What matters is the purity of your longing, the sincerity of your heart, and your steadfast walk upon the path. Let each day be lived with deeper awareness, with kindness in your words, and with a silent offering of your actions at the altar of the divine. When you see each being as your very own, and each moment as a gift from the beloved, you will find that the river of grace has already begun to flow within you. If this message has touched a quiet chord in your heart, I invite you, dear soul, to become a part of this growing family of seekers. Subscribe to this humble channel, where each word is offered as a lamp to light your inner path. Share this wisdom with those who, like you, hunger for truth beyond the noise of the world. And before you leave, I offer you one gentle question for reflection. What is it that you truly seek from life? Is it fleeting pleasures, or that eternal peace which nothing can take away? I would be honored if you would share your answer in the comments below. Let us grow together, as fellow pilgrims on this timeless journey toward the light. Until we meet again, dear soul, walk in peace. And remember, you are ever one with the infinite.